What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle every day, 9 a.m. Thank you for joining. What if I told you that you should be afraid of me? You should be scared of me. What if I told you that if you were watching me, just some guy literally some guy in his basement talking about articles and giving his opinion and wanting to hear yours, what if I told you that this whole process that we have going on here, that YouTube has going on here, is dangerous? See, we don't trust that you can filter out information. You can stop the video, you can skip through the video, you can block, or you can just not follow the channel, you can block me on Twitter. That's not enough. What if I told you that I don't trust you to think critically through anything? I tweeted about the 17th letter, this group, and how they're using this group as the threshold to affect everything. The tweet that I had said, when the media talks about the danger of this 17th letter, they quickly convert over to disinformation, then point fingers at independent media sources. They aren't pointing fingers at just media sources that are into that 17th letter cult. They're pointing fingers at all independent media resources. Sources. This is wide scoping. Here's the clip. Listen to this.
The FBI essentially confirmed my suspicions. So I want to play this video for you. This is pretty alarming here.
What it really has been tapped into the last 4 years is the demand for disinformation. I always thought, okay, once the information space is cleaned up, things will sort of resolve to normal. What you're seeing even in that study is not only is it from some far-right television news outlets, but many of the people that believe this conspiracy are strictly on social media. They're not even getting their news from television news. So they have to go searching for it. I think that speaks to some of the psychology of it, which is if we want to upend this, we have to go with a network of messengers to really counter that. When we're looking in the information space, this is trying to create an entirely false perception and an alternative reality that they can live in. And because every one of these individuals can be their own printing press, they can be their own radio broadcast or television show, because social media is a connective tissue that brings all of these people together to allow them to create this fantasy, we need to get in there and actually try and scale truth in a way beyond what the establishment would typically do. We already know that they're against establishment politicians, they're against institutions, they're against public health officials. They're against those establishments because they believe it holds a barrier to the alternative reality they want to pursue. We need to get in there with a counter message that comes from people that look like them, talk like them, and are in those local communities to really dispel this over time. Part of it is there's such a distance between the establishment right now and these people that are QAnon supporters. We really need to show them that there is a reality horizon out there and they will crash into it. They'll die of things of COVID. Not being able to be governed as a democracy or compromise will lead to the breakdown in governance, like rolling out vaccines and things like that. So we really need to get in there and try and undermine it. It's going to take a network of messengers working with establishment officials and governance institutions to really do this, whether it's the election or COVID-19 or a vaccine rollout.
We're going to go ahead and we're going to work with the establishment, he says, and we're going to start to try to control the information space. He says, nobody right now has really control over the information space. Listen to this FBI guy. And he says, but we need to work with the establishment and the government in order to control the information space. Is that not alarming or what?
Shout out to Kim Iverson, one of my favorite channels. If you like this channel, I think you probably will. You probably already know about her, but if you don't, I highly recommend it. The person in this interview was Clint Watts, a senior fellow at the Center for Cyber and Homeland Security. We're getting it straight from the source. And as you can see, I'm not the only person using the term establishment. The quiet part is now loud. There is no more quiet part. I don't know how much more out in the open you could say it, that you want to pretty much destroy and wipe out independent media sources. That's why I said, what if I told you you had to be afraid of me? That's what he is saying. This is far beyond that cult. It's far beyond right and left. In the interview, he actually used social activists.
But more importantly, now it's all the domestic manipulators that are out there, which are everything from fraudsters to political groups to social activists that can all scale their messages and know how to manipulate the media. So
That's not somebody on the right necessarily. It could be either way. Right now, they are scared and worried about 2022 and 2024. That's what this is about. After the last election, you might have seen there was a lot of heavy activity, permabans. A lot of bans happened right after the election. We're not in election season right now. We're getting close to the midterm election season. And I'm interested to see how amped up things are going to get again with this fight against misinformation. The fight against misinformation is interesting because doesn't it feel like it's a one-way street fight? Like it's not a fight against misinformation as much as it's a fight against independent media. The reason why I say that is if you are really concerned about misinformation in general, wouldn't you talk about the misinformation that we've seen in the mainstream media? I mean, the media has gotten so many stories wrong. Most recently, the Wuhan lab theory was debunked last year, saying that it was completely false, even fact checked. They had to reverse the fact check and say, now it's possible. So I'm not saying that that is true, but what I'm saying is that the window is open. It's possible. They dropped the ball in the media on a huge one, talking about all these deaths and the death counter. And we still don't know where the origin of this thing is. And they're debunking things that could be the origin. And you're worried about the 17th letter? If you're worried about both, maybe. What about the Hunter Biden laptop story? There's so many different things. Jussie Smollett, Bubba Wallace, the Covington kids, the Steele dossier. That's just stuff off the top of my head. This isn't about misinformation, period. This is about misinformation in their eyes from independent media sources, losing control. That's what it's about. It's not about anything else. You might have seen this came out just today on June 1st. As I'm recording this, Twitter may start labeling your tweets based on how wrong you are. That's the headline title. There's nothing confirmed here, but we have an app researcher, Jane Wong, who looked through the code and saw that there are some labels that are coming. This is from Gizmodo. Byline Elise Stanley. Twitter is working on 3 levels of misinformation warning labels, according to Jane Wong. Get the latest, stay informed, and misleading. So snorted 60 grams of dihydrogen monoxide, and I'm not feeling so well now. Get the latest. Funneling you to a mainstream source. So you're not going to we want to funnel you away from this, whoever this person is that's tweeting this stuff. We don't want you to go to their YouTube channel or their podcast. Here's the source. In 12 hours, darkness will ascend in parts of the world. That's an example tweet. It would be labeled, stay informed, learn more about the concept of time zones, find out more. In theory, this is all good. We eat, turtles eat, therefore we are turtles, misleading. But when you put it together for what's happening, is this same thing going to be done to mainstream sources? If it is, it's still not good, but it's not like it's targeted against independent media. But we have to see how it plays out because you see Clinton Watts. He's not worried about mainstream. He's worried about you watching me, you watching Kim Iverson, you watching Tim Pool, you watching Steven Crowder, if he's not permabanned by then. This stuff matters. So if you hear anybody tell you Twitter doesn't matter, don't listen to them. You sound crazy. Clinton Watts just went on TV talking about how much it does matter. At the end of the day, let me ask you this. Who are you going to trust more? Someone like me, I say you watch all sources and make up your own mind. I trust you. You're a grown-ass man or woman. Or do you trust the person that says, all roads have to go through me, and if you go to independent sources outside of me and the establishment and us trusted sources, We need to protect you from yourself. We need to protect you from them. I'm just your common citizen in the basement, literally, just your common person in the basement recording this, talking to other people. You think that that is the way to do it? You think that is the concern? I'm gonna let you make up your mind. Thanks a lot. Take care.